Can y'all hear me? Awesome. Awesome. Sorry, my internet got kicked out, so I had to restart, and here we are. Nice to see everyone. I'm going to give everybody 30 seconds to get in here. This is a part of the life of living in Costa Rica, everyone, which I'll be sharing more about in this free masterclass. I'm so excited that everyone's here. Let's give everyone 30 seconds to arrive. Can someone unmute so I know that you can hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, great, and I can hear you. Okay, perfect.
I can hear you.
Hi, some familiar, beautiful faces. Okay, everyone. Hi, everyone. Okay, let's get started because we have an hour, and with me, that's not enough time. So you'll learn that about me, that it's going to be a little bit like drinking from a fire hose, but this is going to be a really powerful hour. I want to make sure that you have a notebook and a pen handy. You're going to want to take lots of notes here today, and I'm going to share how this hour is going to go, okay? First of all, I just want to acknowledge you all for being here. I know you took an hour out of your day, and I promise you that this is going to be a ton of value. And I just want to share that I'm coming to you live from Costa Rica, which has been, the significance of this is actually really important because this has been a lifelong dream. This has been a 10-year dream on a vision board for me to move my family over to Costa Rica. And through the pandemic, we made the decision to come here. And to be able to work remotely and to do this work, I wouldn't be doing this from Costa Rica if it weren't for the work that I'm teaching and for some of the principles that I'll be teaching you here today. So I actually want you to really understand that I live the work that I teach and that each of you are here for a very specific reason. I don't want you to diminish how important it is that you're here. Something called you to be here this hour. I would say that it was your soul's purpose to be here in this hour to hear a specific message to move you forward. So with that, let's talk about how this is going to go today. So I am going to start with a powerful meditation to get us grounded, to get us present to why we're here, to what we really want, because the most important question that I'm going to be asking you here today is, what do you really want? We're going to be talking a lot about our belief systems, specifically our limiting beliefs that keep us stuck. Some of you have heard my work. Some of you are students of mine. But here's the fun thing about this information. You can never hear it too much because your subconscious mind needs repetition. You might want to write that down. Your subconscious mind needs repetition in order to shift the belief system. So I always believe that even if you're hearing this message for the 10th time, it's landing differently today because you're at a different level of awareness every time you hear it. Now, I also know that the message that I'm sharing today is very significant right now in the world where there's a lot of chaos and a lot of uncertainty. And what I want to ground you in here today is that you're going to start to identify and learn that you have the power to control your thinking and you have the power to control your results. Okay? You might want to write that down too. Your thinking produces your results. And we're going to talk a lot about our thinking today. So I'm going to ground you in a meditation. I'm going to teach on some very beautiful principles here today that you can get value out of no matter what. And then at the end of today, I'm going to share an opportunity to work with me if you feel called to do that. Okay? Okay. So let's get grounded. Everybody close your eyes. You don't need to look at me for this. I know you're going to want to look at me. Nothing's happening over here. I want you to tune in with yourself. Okay? And I'm going to take you through a beautiful meditation. Number one, we want to understand that we want to raise our vibration and raise our frequency, because when we are in a world that feels chaotic right now, no matter where you are in the world, I left Ontario, we were in 16 months of lockdown. That has an impact on your vibration. Yes or no? When your vibration and energy is impacted, because we are energetic beings, every one of us is an energetic being. You're gravitated right now to my energy. You didn't even know it. Some of you don't even know me, because you're an energetic being. And when you're around low vibration energy all the time, we need to lift our vibration, because when I start to teach more about manifestation and creation, you cannot create from a low vibration place. Does everyone hear what I'm saying? You cannot create from a low vibration place. So when we're feeling shame and guilt and overwhelm and upset and anger and resentment, we are not creating our dream life. We can't create from that place. It's mathematically impossible. So before we even get started, I want to ground us in a beautiful meditation and get you present to why you're here. So everybody close your eyes and start to take some deep breaths in through your nose. And since I can't hear you, you're all on mute. Exhale out the mouth. So just a deep sigh, and don't be self-conscious, just deep sigh out. Take a deep inhale and exhale. And again, deep inhale. Hold the breath at the top. And sigh, exhale. Just drop your shoulders and arrive. There's no other place you need to be right now. I want you to be totally present for this hour. Nothing else matters. Nothing else exists. This is the present moment of now. And I want you to just start to feel into your body and notice in your body if there's any areas that might feel tight or stuck or that need extra love today. Don't overlook those areas. Your body is telling you, it's speaking to you. Send some breath to the areas that need it most. Perhaps your heart or your abdomen or your throat. And just allow the music to wash over you and drop your shoulders even more. I want you to relax into your chair. And I want you to hear the sounds in the room, the sound of my voice. And allow the thoughts in your mind to just wash away like waves in the ocean. Try not to attach to any one thought. I want you to feel the breath in your nose and mouth. I want you to feel the sensations in your body and just totally be fully present in this moment of now. When we're fully present, we can arrive and receive the messages we're meant to receive. When we create from this present moment of now. So put away your to-do list and just be here fully. Now I want you to imagine that in a year from now, you're living your dream life. Allow yourself to picture what it would look like to be living your dream. I want you to picture where you are and who you're with, what you're doing, and allow yourself to fully see that picture in Technicolor. And I want you to feel into that feeling of living in your dream, whether it's your dream body or your dream house or your dream location or your dream partner or your dream finances. Pull that vision towards you and feel what it would feel like to already be in that vision, to already be in that ideal. How would you feel if you were more confident? How would you feel if you were financially free and you didn't have to worry about money? How would you feel if you knew your worth fully and completely? How would you feel if life flowed to you with ease and grace? Your relationships were beautiful. And ask yourself this question and just allow whatever intuition comes up. Are you willing to see things differently today? Are you willing to change? We need to have a willingness to see things differently, a willingness to be open to change, a willingness to shift our beliefs so that we can create a new reality. Without a willingness, nothing can happen. So I invite you to bring in a willingness, an openness, a receptivity today. Really understanding that you're here for a very, very, very divine reason. Whether you know it or not consciously, your subconscious mind brought you here today. And I don't take that lightly. So take 3 cleansing breaths in. And out the mouth, exhale. Sigh. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale again. And exhale and start to feel into your fingers and toes wiggling your fingers of toes, shake your head, drop your shoulders, put a smile on your face. You're alive and you're here. And open your eyes. Wasn't that nice? You guys look so relaxed. Okay, let's get started. Now you're here. Let's get started, okay? So let's start with this. I'm not even going to introduce myself. Most of you know who I am, but I'm going to give you a little backstory. So my name's Adele Tevlin, and I'm the founder and CEO of the C.E.O Blueprint, which is a transformational company. I deal with transformational change. And the significance of me sharing this story is that I want to share with you that whatever I have achieved is possible for you because of the work that I teach. So a couple years ago, I would say 2-3 years ago, I was living my life and I wasn't entirely happy. Who can relate to being not entirely happy? I wasn't 100% fulfilled. So you're going to want to raise your hand and engage with me because this is not television. So I can see you and I know you can see me. Good. And I knew there was more. And I have been teaching this work for 20 years, but over the last 3 years, I've been on a very deep dive into the work that I teach around our limiting beliefs and shifting our belief system and creating new results, all coming from neuroscience and psychology. I have a master's from Harvard in psychology and various other degrees. It doesn't really even matter. That's why we're here today. The point of this story is that in a very short amount of time, 18 months or so, I have completely transformed my life. In that my life looked really good on paper, but deep down inside, I wasn't living my soul's purpose. I was doing a job that I liked, didn't love. I was making enough money to pay the bills, but I wasn't making a lot more. Who can relate to that? Like there's never enough at the end of the month kind of thing. But I was really like smart and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like, why couldn't I break through this? So I went on this very deep dive. And I started to really work at some of these limiting beliefs that were holding me back. When I say limiting beliefs, I'm going to explain more of what that is. But some of you have heard the word limiting belief. I use the word limiting belief, false belief interchangeably. And I started to understand that I had 2 very prominent beliefs that were holding me back. One of those, and as I say this, I want you to write this down if this resonates with you. One of these beliefs was that I felt like life had to be really hard. Life needed to be a struggle. Who can relate to life needed to be a struggle? How do I know? You make it hard. So life was hard, and the other one was that there was never enough. Many of you on this call today have a limiting belief that there's not enough. Either not enough time, not enough money, not enough love, not enough resources. Something is not enough. So I was operating in the domain of there's never enough and I had to struggle. So in my business, I struggled to make enough money to pay my team. In my relationships, I struggled. And when I finally healed this core wound, because it's a core wound that we develop in childhood, and I'll get to that today, a little bit today, things started to change. I was able to increase my annual income. I went from making my annual income into a daily income. My relationships changed. I met the man that I fell in love with. I was able to move my life and my son to Costa Rica and live this life. I share this not to brag. I share this to tell you that 18 months ago, my life wasn't exactly this way. So I want you to understand that whatever I'm going to be talking about here today is grounded both in science and mathematics, but also I've taught about thousands of people at this time to use these tools and strategies to build the life that they really want. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay. So the first question I'm going to ask you is this: why are you here? What do you really want? Okay. So write that down. I think one of the most important questions that you can ask yourself is, what do you really want? If you're not writing this down, I want you to write this down. I also want you to write down things I'm saying that are resonating to you. Here's why. When you leave here today, if you don't write it down, guess what's going to happen? Take one guess. You're going to forget it. Why are you going to forget it? Because your subconscious mind doesn't want you to change. I'm going to be saying things in this hour that you're going to be resisting. Some of you are going to hate me. That's totally okay. I love you anyway, and I don't take it personally. It is not my first rodeo. Some of you are going to be triggered by what I say because I'm going to be saying things that are contrary to what you were taught to believe. See, I was taught to believe that life was a struggle because my parents came here as immigrants from Russia, and had the total immigrant story. Do you know that story? I walked barefoot to school, not enough money, that kind of jazz? Yes, you know. So I inherited this belief system that everything needed to be hard. So what did I do? I burnt myself out about 3 or 4 times in my career. I also believed there wasn't enough because I saw my parents struggle around money when I was a child. I mean, they definitely they had the American dream. They came here and made a better life for us. But at that beginning formative time of my life, 0 to 7, which we'll talk a little bit about here today, when you're 0 to 7 years of age, it's the most formative time of your life because you're very open to suggestion. Who are you open to suggestion by? Your mom and dad. So as I'm talking, I want you to start to think about, what was it like around my mom and dad when I was growing up? You might want to write that question down. So I embodied, unbeknownst to me, these belief systems. You need to understand, everyone here today, that you have belief systems that are not your own. They were inherited from your mom and dad. And if you are anything like me and you have parents that worked really hard and they fought about money, or money was a struggle, you have a core wound related to that. It ends up showing up in your results. Okay? Your results always tell you what you believe. Please write that down. That is very important. Your results always tell you what you believe. So if I say to you, show me what your results are, I can tell you what you're believing in your subconscious mind. So I want you to ask yourself, what do you really want? Why is this question so important? Because your subconscious mind needs clarity of vision and clarity of purpose in order to create the life that you desire. You need clarity. Now, here's the funny thing, because like I said, it's not my first rodeo. I've done this a few times, and I've done it with thousands of people. And every time I ask a group of people, specifically women, for some interesting reason, what they want, most of you are looking at me like I have 7 heads. Do you know that you're looking at me like I have 7 heads? Most of you, when I ask, what do you really want? You're like, I don't know, Adele, what the hell am I supposed to want? Now, why do you think it's hard for you to know what you want? I'm going to be picking on some of you during this class, by the way. It's okay. Why do you think it's hard for you to know what you want? Let me ask you this, Fiona. When you were a child, was it safe for you to want what you wanted? Was it okay to want what you wanted?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. I was taught what I was supposed to want.
Thank you very much. I didn't know Fiona prior to this conversation. I'm going to pick on you because I intuitively feel into people. That's kind of part of my magic, because I sort of can see what your blind spots are, guys. Okay, so you can lie to me, but I can never be fooled. Okay. You were taught to believe what you wanted. So what I'm asking you, Fiona, is did you have permission to just want what you wanted?
No way.
No way. Okay. Who can relate to Fiona? No way, no how were you given permission to want what you want? Yeah, most of us. Very good. So when I ask you, what do you really want? Part of your subconscious mind is completely shutting down. It's saying it's not safe for you to want what you want. Don't go there. But if you don't know what you want, how are you creating anything? So I'm going to give you some questions to really distinguish what you really want. This in and of itself is worth $1 million, because when you discover what you truly desire, the rest of it is easy. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you truly give yourself permission to want what you want, the rest of it is not easy. It's simple. It's not easy. The rest of it can come, but we can't pass go until you're all very clear why you came here today and what you truly desire in your life. Now, I'm going to distinguish a couple things here before you all. I'm not asking you what's practical. I don't give a shit about what's practical. P.S. I swear a lot. That's just to get you woken up because half of you are still asleep. I don't care what you think is practical. You're not here for practical. I'm going to push you to dream bigger. It wasn't practical to move my entire family through COVID into Costa Rica. In fact, it was kind of Murphy's Law. Everything that could go wrong did on the way here. But that's how the subconscious mind works. It doesn't want you to live your dream. So I am going to be saying things that are going to push your subconscious mind to the limit a little bit today, but that's what you need to wake up here today. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if that makes sense. Very good. You're all alive. Okay, good. Okay, so here are some questions to ask you about what do you really want. Ready? Write these down, and I'm going to have a couple of you share. What do you think about in your secret thoughts? What do you think about in your secret thoughts? Now, before I even go deeper, here's what I want you to think about. I want to distinguish something for you. I'm not talking about, if one of you says this to me, I swear to God, I'm going to come to your house and shake you, okay? I'm not looking for the answer of sitting on the couch and eating potato chips. That's not your heart's desire. That's laziness. When I say, what do you think about in your secret thoughts? I'm not like, oh, I think about Netflix and, leaving my family to go, watch Netflix and drink beer. That's not what I'm talking about. Do you know the difference between your heart's desire and your ego telling you that you just want to do that? So when I say, what do you think about in your secret thoughts? It's like an example would be, I've always wanted to be a writer, but I've never told anyone that. I've always wanted to travel the world, but it wasn't practical. Make sense? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Yes or no? Okay. So that's question one. What do you think about in your secret thoughts? Number two, if nothing I wanted, this is a big one for you ladies. I don't know if there's any men. I think there's some men on here too, but for the ladies especially, if nothing I wanted were bad or wrong, what would I want? Ooh, that's a goodie. That's a goodie, girls. If nothing I wanted were bad or wrong, what would I want? Because here's the thing. For a lot of us, we have so much shame around what we want. Yes or no? Let's be honest, especially when it relates to money. I love talking about money because money is very spiritual, and it's one of the most spiritual things that you can ever do, but people have very wrong ideas about what money is. And later on in my work, I'll be teaching more about that. But specifically, I feel that people have shame and guilt about wanting more. Maybe you feel guilty about wanting more than what your parents had or your sibling. And if you're feeling guilt or shame, what did I just say at the beginning of our session here? You can't create anything from shame. It'll be what stops you. So this question of if nothing I wanted were bad and wrong, what would I want, is such a great way to get to the truth. Maybe you'd want more money. Maybe you'd want, more intimacy. Maybe you'd want to move. Maybe you would want to quit your job. Maybe you'd want to start a business. Do you understand? Okay, question 3. If no matter what I did, no one would be upset with me, what would I want? I see Jenny. Jenny, you're smiling. I feel like this is a big one for people. I used to be the biggest people pleaser. So part of why I wasn't living my dream is because I didn't want to upset anybody. What do you do when you don't upset other people? Can somebody please tell me what you do when you don't upset other people? Christine, what do you do when you don't upset other people?
Stay super small.
Yep, stay safe, small, and who do you upset?
Myself.
Yep. You sell out on yourself. We sell out on ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. When we're worried about upsetting other people and not living our dream, we are ultimately hurting ourselves. Because here's the thing. When we get to the true root of what you truly desire, you have to understand that the word desire, and I don't mean desire like an animal impulse. I'm talking about the seat of desire that's in your subconscious mind. Each one of us is here with a big purpose in life. Okay? And desire comes from the Latin word of the Father. You want to write that down. It comes from the Latin word of the Father, meaning that whatever you believe, whether it's God or universe or source or consciousness, however you relate to that energy that is, it has given you a seed of desire. It is meant to be manifested in this world to create something amazing. But when you're worried about what other people think, you cannot create. Yes or no? So it is so important to get super flat and clear today on starting to unravel what is it that I truly desire? What is it that makes me happy? What do I think about in my secret thoughts? If nothing I wanted were bad and wrong, what would I want? If nothing I did would hurt anybody else, what would I desire? So I want you to work through that a little bit. And I want to have at least one of you share that, and then we're going to move on. But I want to share a really amazing quote that I love. And Megan, who works with me, and you all know Megan, you've been getting lots of emails from her. She's going to put this quote in the group chat. But this is one of my favorite quotes by Leland Van Vandewall. Okay, it's quite the name. Don't worry, she'll put it in the chat. The quote says this: "The degree to which a person can grow is directly proportional to the amount of truth he can accept about himself without running away." The degree to which a person can grow is directly proportional to the amount of truth he can accept about himself without running away. What does that mean? It means that when you start to discover the truth about what's holding you back and you don't run away from it, you will have a transformation. Does this make sense? Most people are so afraid of discovering the truth about themselves. But it's like in AA, if you don't actually start with acknowledging there's a problem, there's no change possible. What's the problem? The problem is not in you. You're whole, perfect, and complete as you are. The problem is that prior to the age of 7, please write this down and please think about what I'm saying here for a minute. Prior to the age of 7, we do not have a conscious mind. Now, why is this important? The conscious mind is the part of our mind that tells us to think and reason. It allows us to think and reason. So all of you have a conscious mind. Your conscious mind is the part of your mind that says, I agree, Adele, or I disagree. I like that, or I don't like that. That's good, that's bad. It's your intellect, okay? Now, what's so important about the intellect? We're the only species that we know of that has a conscious mind. Animals don't have a conscious mind. They just have a reactionary system biologically. But you all have a conscious mind. Prior to the age of 7, we do not have a conscious mind. We only have a subconscious mind. Why is this relevant? Everything that happened around you prior to the age of 7 got locked into your subconscious mind and became a fixed belief system. I'm going to say that again, and I want you to listen and open your ears. Some of you are thinking about Krispy Kreme donuts. Okay, don't think about Krispy Kreme donuts. Listen to what I'm saying. Your subconscious mind is wanting to shut down. Listen to what I'm saying. Prior to the age of 7, and I'm going to draw it on my board in a minute, you do not have a conscious mind. Why is this important? Because the conscious mind has the ability to reject information. So you can right now watch the news or something and reject what you're seeing. Although I believe you actually accept most of it subconsciously if you're not careful. So don't watch the news. That's a whole other story. We don't have time for that. I'm not going to go on my diatribe there. Prior to the age of 7, you do not have a conscious mind. You only have a subconscious mind. It's like a fishbowl. Draw a fishbowl. Everything that was going on around you, who were around you before 7? Your mother, your father, your grandparents, your siblings, yes? Everything came in because you're open to suggestion and your subconscious mind does not have the ability to reject information. So when you're a 6-year-old, Marnie, I'm looking at Marnie, and your parents say you're a bad girl, the 6-year-old is not going, you know what? I don't think I'm a bad girl because you're not rationalizing at 6. You're taking it as fact. Everybody needs to be listening to what I'm saying because it's very important that you understand this. Most of the things that you believe about yourself happened prior to the age of 7. They were either somebody else's belief system, your parents, or they were told to you as a belief system. Is this making sense? So think for a minute, what was it like growing up around my parents prior to the age of 7? You don't need to get it perfectly. You just need to remember what was it like being a child. Did your parents fight? Did they fight about money? Did they yell at you? Were they abusive? I mean, I've heard and seen it all, so there's nothing that will shock me. Did you see them struggle? Okay, take a minute and just write that down for a second, okay? before I even go into that, I want someone to tell me what they really want. What did you discover about yourself in answering those questions? Raise your hand so I can actually see you. What did you discover? What do you really want? Christine Wicks, did you just raise your hand? Okay. Okay, good. Tell me. You're on mute though. Christine, you're on mute. Christine Wicks.
Okay, sorry, I'm muted. One of my things is, like you said, I only realise now that I have shame about wanting money. I want money, I want security, I want stability, I want a home that I can own, I want freedom to travel and do the things I want to do. Most of all, I want a non-toxic relationship with somebody who prioritises me, and I want to learn to prioritise myself. That's what I want.
Yes! Woo! Everybody give Christine some acknowledgement. Notice how you didn't even realize you had shame about wanting those things?
No, I know. It's frightening.
No, it's not frightening. It's why you're all here. If you already knew.
Quite tearful.
Good. Tearful is. I should have told you all to bring a box of Kleenex. Usually people cry in my seminars, but that's okay. It's good tears. It's a release. Listen, let me tell you something, everybody. Most of you are walking through life a little bit asleep. And I say this with absolute love in my heart for you. But you're asleep. You don't even realize your full potential. I didn't realize my full potential up until 3 years ago, when I went from barely making enough to building a 7-figure business in less than a year, moving my family to Costa Rica, meeting the man of my dreams. Now, was my life unicorns and rainbows that whole time? Abso-fucking-lutely not. But because I've learned how to train myself to think in the ways that I'm going to be teaching, I'm able to overcome those obstacles very quickly and see them as opportunities. See them as opportunities. You might want to write that one down. I have a lot of Adeleisms that are going to be t-shirts that my students like to say that's an Adele t-shirt. Every obstacle is an opportunity. You just look at it like a problem because that's how you're trained to think. Most of you are trained educationally to think that everything's a problem. Some of you are trained because your parents made everything a problem. You don't see things as they are. You see them as you are. You don't see things as they are. You see them as you are. If you see everything as the glass half empty, guess what? That's what you create. So Christine, wanting abundance, wanting financial freedom, wanting to buy a house of your own, wanting security and stability, wanting a non-toxic relationship, although I don't want you to say I want a non-toxic because the subconscious mind is deductive. Say in the affirmative, I want a beautiful conscious relationship.
Okay.
We don't want to talk about what we don't want.
I want a
conscious, beautiful relationship.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Christine. You can mute yourself for now.
Thank you.
Okay, so most of you today, if you even just get present to what you truly desire, then you got what you came here for, okay? But I want you to understand a lot of you have shame and guilt around some aspect of your life. That's why you're not manifesting it. That's a scientific fact, by the way. That's not my opinion. If you have shame or guilt around anything, your subconscious mind, which is very strong and much stronger than your conscious mind, will convince you and rationalize all the reasons why you shouldn't do something. Are y'all hearing me? Are you all hearing me? Here's what I call rationalize. Rationing lies. There's another t-shirt for you. You're all really good at rationalizing. Well, Adele, it's fine. It's good enough. That is not okay. You are worthy of more than good enough. I don't have the money. That's another great one. Really? You spent $700 at Starbucks this year. You're just not placing the value in the right places. Or you think money is finite. You don't understand how money works yet. You always have money once you decide you need the money. Once you decide to do something, the money shows up. That's a law. And I teach a lot about these universal laws, which is when you make a decision, everything else shows up. But until you decide you have no reason to have the money, you rationalize that you don't have enough time. We all have the same 24 hours in our day. What are you choosing to spend your time doing? It's very powerful. When you stop making those excuses, everything changes. And when we stop talking about what we don't want, that was a beautiful example when she said, I want a non-toxic relationship. What is the subconscious mind here? Toxic. Because the subconscious mind is deductive. It doesn't understand the negative. So when you say, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be fat, I don't want to be overweight, I don't want to be unhappy, all the subconscious mind is hearing is fat, broke, unhappy, and it manifests more of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. So most of you want something. You came here for something. And it actually doesn't even matter what you came here for. The way to get to that desired outcome is the same. Okay, so let me draw something for you here. So this is the stick figure that I use a lot in my teachings, although my circle today isn't very circular. So let me try that again. Now this stick figure is a representation that comes from Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1929. Dr. Thurman Fleet was a medical doctor that used this stick figure to really illustrate the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind and the interaction between the conscious and subconscious mind. Okay? Now, here is your conscious mind, and here is your subconscious mind. Conscious, subconscious, and this is your body. Most of you don't realize that you have three parts of the mind. You have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. The body is also a part of the mind. That's why when I said feel into your body and tell me where there's tension, it's because it's a part of your mind. It's communicating something to you. Okay? Now, what's important to understand here? The conscious mind is our intellect. It's the part of us that thinks and reasons. It's the part of us that rations lies, right? You like that one. You're never going to forget rationing lies. It's good. I know it's a good one. It's the part of you that rationalizes. It's the part of you that says, agree, I disagree. It can agree and it can disagree. This is very important. It has the ability to choose. It has the ability to choose. Do you know that your ability to choose is your greatest superpower? Yvonne, do you know that your ability to choose is your greatest superpower? Did you know that prior to today? It is. It's your greatest superpower as a human being. Why? An animal, a squirrel, doesn't have the ability to choose. It's just reacting to its environment. But here's the thing, everyone. If you don't train your mind properly in the way that I'm going to be teaching here, then you're just also like a squirrel reacting to your circumstances. How many of you can see that you're mostly a squirrel reacting to your circumstances? From a place of non-judgment, you want to be radically honest here with yourselves. I look at this like the way I want you to look at this time that we're talking, and in general in my work, is you want to observe it like a scientist. You don't want to get emotionally involved in what I'm saying, because then that'll just make you right and then you'll stop learning. So observe yourself like a scientist. Do I react like a squirrel? Yes. I get an email from my boss, reaction. My husband says this, reaction. My kids spilled, soup, reaction. Dog ate my homework, reaction. When you're reacting, you're not thinking. You want to write that down. When you're reacting, you're not thinking. You're also not creating when you're reacting. When you're reacting, you're in your fight or flight limbic system. So it's very important to understand that our ability to choose what? To choose what we think about, to choose what we believe, to choose how we feel, to choose. Notice how I said choose how we feel, to choose what we do, our behaviors, our reactions, our actions. That's our greatest superpower as a human being, because no other species has the ability to do that we know of. So I always say our greatest power is our power to choose. That's like another Adele quote for you right there. So that's your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is your power center. It's the part of you that governs everything that you do. It's the part of you that's automatic. It's the part of you that doesn't need to remember how to tie your shoelaces or how to do anything. It's where all your habits and patterns are stored. This is your subconscious mind, okay? What's the important piece here? It does not have the ability to choose. It accepts everything as fact. It accepts everything as fact. So I always say this is a really important thing to think about. What you don't consciously reject, you subconsciously accept. What you don't consciously reject, you subconsciously accept. Write that down. What does that mean? When you think that you're just watching the news passively, your subconscious mind is picking up everything. It's why you feel like total shit after you watch the news.